Laziness is something we all experience at one time or another. It's that heavy feeling of knowing there are things you should be doing, but just not having the energy or motivation to get started. We often associate laziness with a lack of discipline or willpower, but the truth is, it's more complicated than that. Laziness can stem from various factors, including burnout, stress, or even fear of failure. For many, laziness becomes a vicious cycle. You put off a task, and as the deadline looms closer, the anxiety of not having done it grows. That anxiety makes the task seem even more daunting, which makes it harder to start. Procrastination then leads to guilt, and the more we feel guilty, the harder it becomes to break the cycle. It's not just about not wanting to do something. It's the mental burden that comes with feeling like we've failed ourselves. One of the key reasons laziness takes hold is the fear of failure or perfectionism. Sometimes, when we have high expectations of ourselves, the idea of not doing something perfectly makes it easier to avoid doing it altogether. It's easier to label ourselves as lazy than to face the discomfort of potentially not meeting our own standards. This fear can paralyze us into inaction. Burnout is another major factor contributing to laziness. We live in a world that often glorifies hustle culture, always working, always producing, always moving forward. But when we push ourselves too hard for too long, the exhaustion catches up with us. At that point, what looks like laziness is often just our body and mind screaming for rest. When we don't listen to those signals early on, they manifest as total shutdown, where even the simplest tasks feel overwhelming. Laziness can also be a form of resistance. Sometimes, deep down, we know that the tasks we're avoiding don't align with our values or passions. We might not even be consciously aware of it, but something about the task just feels wrong for us. This can happen in work, school, or even personal relationships, anything where we feel like we're being forced into something that doesn't feel authentic. What looks like laziness from the outside might actually be a sign that we need to reevaluate what we're spending our time on. Technology and modern conveniences also play a role in fostering laziness. With so much available at our fingertips, from entertainment to food delivery, the need to actively engage in the world has diminished. It's easy to fall into patterns of passivity when everything can be accessed with minimal effort. This passive consumption, whether it's endless scrolling on social media or binge-watching TV shows, can create a false sense of productivity, masking our actual lack of engagement with more meaningful activities. Despite the negative connotations surrounding laziness, it's important to remember that everyone needs downtime. Rest and relaxation are essential for our mental and physical well-being. The problem arises when laziness becomes chronic and starts affecting our long-term goals, relationships, and overall sense of fulfillment. It's about finding a balance between productivity and rest, understanding that rest is necessary but avoiding the trap of using laziness as a way to escape responsibility. Overcoming laziness requires self-awareness and small, deliberate actions. It's about breaking tasks into smaller, more manageable pieces so they don't feel overwhelming. Setting realistic goals and deadlines helps us avoid the paralysis that comes with perfectionism. Sometimes, just starting with one tiny task can create the momentum needed to keep going. In the end, laziness is a natural human experience, but it's not something we have to be trapped by. By understanding its root causes, whether it's burnout, fear of failure, or simply needing a break, we can address it in healthier ways. We need to be kinder to ourselves and recognize that periods of inaction don't define us. It's about finding the right balance between rest and effort, allowing ourselves to recharge while staying focused on what truly matters in the long run.